Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger, and I'm going to talk a little bit about Destination X and the concept behind it. I'm going to start off by saying, um, if you're a big fan of the X Division, I'm sure you really love this pay-per-view. I'm not as huge on the X Division as a lot of people. I like it, but I don't think it needs to be as huge as everyone else whines about it needing to be, you know. But for what we got, it was a pretty fun show. Kazarian beat Samoa Joe. It makes me think they're doing some sort of losing streak angle with Samoa Joe. Doug Williams beat newcomer Mark Haskins. There was an alright match. It wasn't. I didn't expect a newcomer, but that's fine. Mark Haskins is a UK wrestler. He wrestled on the UK tour with TNA earlier this year. They were impressed by him and brought him over. I think, he did have a few slip-ups in the match, but I think that can be excused because this is his first time wrestling in the Impact Zone. Probably his first time wrestling in America. And I don't know how much pay-per-view time he's wrestled like live shows, so I can understand that. But he was an alright kid. I like to see him hang around. We got Eric Young and Sharp Boy versus Generation Me. I didn't really care, but it's always fun to see EY and Sharp Boy. They're always fun. I really like the promo in the back where Eric's looking for a partner, and Curry Man was there, and he went all the way back to that old bit from 08, 09, the Fire Championship. I always remember that, where he got the fire case and Feast of Fire, and he goes, so-and-so got briefcase say world, he get world title match, and other guy briefcase say tag team, he get tag team title match. My case say fire, who is fire champion? I want my fire championship match. And then he says on the pay-per-view, I can't be a part. I gotta be back in Japan tomorrow. Big Fire Championship title defense against Cody Deaner. I miss Deaner. That was funny, but match was okay. Whatever. Alex Shelley won the ultimate match. I was pulling for Robbie E to win. He was my favorite guy. But Shelley, whatever. Another boring X Division guy. RVD beat Jerry Lynn. Like I said, RVD will be here tomorrow. Jerry Lynn won. That's how you know he's going to win. Austin Aries won the four-way for the contract. Did not expect that. I thought Zema Ion was going to win, but Austin Aries, I've gotten to like him from watching him in NWA Hollywood, so at least it's somebody I'm a bit familiar with winning it. Brian Kendrick beat Abyss and was fine for what it was. It was the only match that really told a good story. Clear-cut heel and babyface. Underdog, babyface and Pearl with Brian Kendrick, big tough heel. I liked it. I think it was probably my favorite match to watch. And AJ Christopher Daniels, it was fun for what it was. I really didn't care that much for this match. As far as where we go storyline-wise, this pay-per-view, this is more of just a theme pay-per-view that really is not going to affect storylines that much, but we'll have to wait till Thursday and see where it goes. What I want to say about Destination X is, while I didn't like the pay-per-view, and it's not that the pay-per-view was bad, it's just I'm just not a big fan of the X Division. Again, if you're a big fan of the X Division, I imagine you love this pay-per-view. I'm not a big X Division fan. While I didn't like in execution, a lot of the concepts of this pay-per-view and leading into this pay-per-view I really liked. With pay-per-views, it really should be really very, very match heavy because you've done all your storytelling to lead to the pay-per-view on the TV shows. The fact that they just kept the backstage promos really short, did match, lots of long matches, lots of good wrestling, that added to it. But what took this pay-per-view down for me was a lot of guys I liked weren't on it. Sting wasn't on the pay-per-view at all. There's no tag title match. Beer Money wasn't on the pay-per-view. There were no knockouts on the pay-per-view. It's just a lot of people I like weren't on this pay-per-view. No Matt Morgan, no Gunner, no Crimson. Well, Gunner was there for a minute with that run-in part. But, a lot of people I like weren't on this pay-per-view. A lot of storylines that I'm liking right now weren't featured on this pay-per-view. So I just really didn't have any emotional investment in it. But Hopefully they keep the pacing of Impact the way they did over the past couple weeks leading to this pay-per-view, because it seemed to have some for everybody, because they had more X Division matches, but I feel like enough to satisfy the people who like the X Division, but they didn't really lack on the other aspects of the show to keep people like me entertained. They didn't lack on stuff with the tag teams or stuff with the knockouts or the heavyweights or your main overall storyline stuff. So I was satisfied with Impact. I liked the Impacts leading up to it, and so did the people who missed seeing more X Division. So I think they really have to work on that blend, because they cannot do all X Division match pay-per-views every month. I'm sorry, you're gonna lose more fans than you gain. I'm not gonna watch TNA pay-per-views or TNA period if they just do all X Division matches. That's not what I want to see. You're gonna lose the people like me, and they can't afford to lose more fans. So you really gotta learn how to pace it. How can you pace it for the people who like the X Division stuff and the people who like the storytelling aspect? And I thought that the last month of Impact, they really had a good pacing. They really had a good balance of storytelling, wrestling, and something for everybody, and I hope they keep that up. What I also like was the concept of Destination X, celebrating the X Division. I just would rather see it with something else. I'd much rather see a pay-per-view dedicated to like tag team wrestling or something like that. I would love to see this same concept done in the future, and for tag teams. And do a tag team pay-per-view where they, introduce some new tag teams from like the indies and bring some tag teams from the past. And I actually had a concept of that a long time ago that I never did do a video on, about a all tag team pay-per-view. And I like the format they did with Destination X, so I'm gonna apply that format to that and do that in a separate video. I like to see one for the knockouts, but not necessarily a pay-per-view, because I don't think all women's match pay-per-view is going to sell well, but I would still like to see that same concept build up to maybe like a special all knockouts episode of Impact, like when they did the knockout New Year's Eve. Of course, that was 4 hours long. It wouldn't be 4 hours long. It'd be, if they could do another one of those limited commercial interruption episodes of Impact, 2 hours limited commercial, and do like an all knockout show, do something like that, I think a lot of people would watch it, but I don't think that many people would buy an all knockouts pay-per-view. So I like to see those concepts applied. So I'm gonna come back with those two videos, the tag team one and a knockouts one, using the same sort of format they did with building up to this Destination X pay-per-view. Try to do one tonight. I got time before I go to bed, so we'll see how that goes. But overall, Destination X, it was fun. Again, if I was more of an X Division fan, I'm sure I would have liked this pay-per-view more, but I'm not, so I didn't. I would give it a B. It was fun for a night, but I wouldn't want to see this all the time. I really would not want to see this all the time, because I got bored halfway through. So this is not something I want to see every week, not something I'd want to see every month. I hope they keep the format, but not the theme. The format of the pay-per-view and the episodes leading to the pay-per-view was very good. I hope they keep that format and apply that to the show in general. I just hope they don't look at it and think, well, let's just load every single freaking pay-per-view up with nothing but X Division, because I'm gonna hate it and never watch a TNA pay-per-view again. So what else do I want to say? Yeah, that's it. Six-sided ring was bad for a night. I didn't even notice it. Seriously, didn't notice it. Like, into the first match, I totally forgot that they were back in the six-sided ring. So that's how I'm really gonna go on it. So yeah, again, as you can hear by the tone of my voice, there's not a whole lot else that I want to say about this pay-per-view. It didn't really have me that excited. So let me go ahead and wrap this video up. This is the Shadow Ranger. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.